You can become super powerful early in Hogwarts Legacy with some key skill unlocks and upgrades, and in this video we'll focus on the starting setup that worked really well for me, but also other things that you don't want to miss in the meantime. Of course, if you find this video useful at any point, a thumbs up on it would be awesome, and let's dive right in. Let's get started with some of the spell unlocks you'll want right away, and on your first day at Hogwarts, you'll want to immediately attend the first classes to learn Accio, Levioso, and Confringo. We'll talk about making these better in just a little bit, but for now they should cover the basics of what you need to know in order to handle yourself out in the wild. Not all of the spells come from classes, however, and for some of the stronger, more unique variants, you will either have to complete special assignments that pop up throughout the year or help other students in their own side stories. And one of the first starting characters that I recommend helping is Sebastian, who gives you access to the Confringo damage spell right away through a mission called In the Shadow of the Undercroft. Just like the Incendio spell, this is a fire skill, except it shoots a firebolt that travels for much longer distances. And it can also blow things up, which makes it useful both in combat as well as exploration. Another one that's quite early and useful is the Pulso that you acquire quite easily from one of Professor Sharp's assignments. All you have to do is to acquire and use a Focus, a Maxima, and an Edurus potion simultaneously. So for the Edurus, this is something that you already craft during his previous potion class, which means this leaves only the other two that you can, by the way, quickly buy from the Pippin's potion shop for around 800 galleons back in Hogsmeade. All you have to do is to make sure that you pop them all at the same time, which is going to finish the assignments, and yeah, Sharp is going to teach you that spell. This one is also very useful both in combat as well as exploration, since it's also useful at busting doors or clearing out debris. But once you've unlocked these skills, it's time to make them better, and you do so through the talent trees. But to unlock the talent trees, you need to progress a bit in the main story, unlock the map chamber, which is also going to open them up. And with your first few extra perks, I recommend immediately going into the spells category, and especially so grab these 3 mastery upgrades at the bottom, specifically for Accio, Levioso, and Incendio. For the first two, this lets you lift and grab multiple enemies at the same time, while the Incendio upgrade is an excellent AoE like supercharge attack. This one is one of the strongest early on setups that I played with, lifting a whole group of enemies, pulling it together close to me, and then just finishing things off with a devastating Incendio hit. Some of the other upgrades, like for example for the Pulso, are also amazing, since they can add another extra AoE around your character to push back enemies in case they surround you. Or even more so, you can also get the one for Confringo if you want to give it an AoE component. This is going to make it cast 2 smaller Confringos on top of the initial cast. But there's more that you will want to unlock as well, and another very important one is the basic cast mastery in the core skill line. This is going to make all of your basic wand attacks to now also reduce the cooldown of all of your other spells. You don't even need like a lot of attacks to do that, just a handful of them is enough to completely remove that cooldown and let you spam all of your spells. In the same category, while you're at it, you might also want to further consider the spell knowledge upgrades, at least the first one after level 5. Because they give you an extra grid that you can slot 4 additional spells into. And trust me, eventually you'll get a lot of these skills, up to 26 in total by the time you finish the game, so I can confidently say that you will need all of them, which is why the extra grids are definitely important. Finally, I also recommend getting the Swift upgrade for your dodge. This is also really awesome. If you hold down the dodge button, with this it's going to make your character quickly vanish and then travel rapidly for a short duration. Not only is this great in combat when avoiding some of the enemy attacks, but it's also great to travel faster in areas that restrict mount summoning. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the Room of Requirement, which is going to be needed to progress your character at the next level. Once you get it, pay special attention to the loom, because this is how you upgrade your gear. Though you will need various creature parts in order to do so, and the best early on for the first level unlocks are going to be the mooncalf furs and the jobberknoll feathers. For the mooncalves, you can find a den very easily right here at the top of the Quidditch arena, very close to the castle, but just make sure you go there during the night. Meanwhile, for the jobberknolls, you can find a bunch near Arendelle, so that can also be quick. Now, if you want to buff your damage to the true next level, there's no better option than the Maxima Potion. And I mean, just look at the difference between not popping it and then using it right away. For 20 seconds straight, this is going to give you a massive damage buff to all of your attacks and spells, which with certain skill combos will completely erase enemies from existence. You of course need to buy the recipe for it from Pippin's shop for around 500 galleons back in Hogsmeade, but it's totally worth it. You will of course need spider fangs and the leech juice to craft one, but luckily the game showers you in spiders through missions either in the Forbidden Forest or random tunnels, while the leech juice is something you find easily near shorelines. There's even a level 16 upgrade in the Room of Requirement skill line that buffs that Maxima Potion even more for more damage and the possibility to break enemy shields with regular attacks. The difference is definitely noticeable, and in the later stages, or if you fight with boss enemies and especially trolls, you will need those high damage numbers for all of your attacks. Now for the plants, there's a few spellcraft recipes I recommend early from the tomes and scrolls also in Hogsmeade. Probably the first unlock you should get is definitely the large single pot, as this lets you plant everything up to the largest of plants, which is going to include flaxweed, one of the main ingredients in the Liquid Luck exclusive potion you get if you got the PlayStation 5 version. And once you do get the planter, you can head over to the Magic Neep nearby and also grab the flaxweed seeds needed to, put those in the planters and then craft the Liquid Luck potion. This is going to make treasure hunting a lot easier, as now you're going to see all the loot chests popping up and revealed on your minimap for a whole in-game day. You will get lots of gear and galleons this way, but do keep in mind that it only lasts one in-game day, so try to make the most out of it. But you'll soon start to notice that your inventory slots are not enough for all of the loot that you get, and luckily there is a way in the game to increase that. For that, you'll need to complete the Merlin trials that you find randomly around the world, and you'll have to progress through its challenge tiers to unlock more of these slots. So to open up the trials in the first place, you need to head over early in the lower Hogsfield region, and this is where you will notice the Merlin trial quest popping up, maybe just as you're about to finish a different quest for Natty in the same area. You'll have to rescue this researcher lady that's been trying to solve the puzzle mystery, which seems to involve using mellow sweet leaves. The first 5 you get during that mission, but for the rest I recommend buying the seeds from the Magic Neep also in Hogsmeade, and you can plant these and then just do the trials with the ones that you got. For the most part, you're going to have to clear out certain areas or complete certain puzzles by using mostly 4 or 5 spells, including Incendio, Lumos, Accio, and sometimes Flipendo. Each challenge tier you unlock will provide 4 extra inventory slots in a total of 20 by the time you complete them. But there's one other skill that's going to be even more useful here, which is going to be the Wingardium Leviosa. Completely different than the simple Levioso spell, as it comes a bit later, but it also lifts some of the heavy boulders and other huge obstacles. So to get this, you need to finish Professor Garlick's assignment a bit later, in which you have to acquire a Venomous Tentaculi and also use a Mandrake on multiple enemies. If you're in a hurry, you can buy both of these from the Dogweed and Deathcap shop in Hogsmeade, but just make sure that you use the Mandrake on at least 2 enemies at the same time to finish this assignment. And by the way, quick tip, if you want to save a spot on your spell grid, instead of casting Wingardium Leviosa, you can simply save that slot by first starting with Accio, and then your character is going to automatically cast Wingardium Leviosa if you just hold down the button. So this is going to make things a lot easier in the puzzles later on. And speaking of expanding new stuff, you can have up to 5 gauges for your ancient magic, which is going to let you spam your ultimates a lot more often. You get these by completing a different set of challenges for the ancient magic spots. You'll find these later in the game as you unlock them, and they can easily be spotted by their unique icon. Once you reach a spot, you have to reveal 3 orbs that you have to collect in the vicinity, but it's easy because they're all hinted by the lines when you start up. There's dozens of these on the map, and you're definitely going to want them, especially since in the later stages of the game, it's going to be super easy to fill the ultimate gauges and cast your powerful attacks. Even more so, good to note is that your ancient magic also benefits from the Maxima Potion, so the results can be quite devastating. And finally, this brings us to my favorite class of them all, which is definitely the Flying Broom lesson. This is going to both open up Broom Flight as well as the Flying challenges. Once you did learn the basics, head over to LB Weeks in Hogsmeade and just buy your first brooms. He actually sells quite a few for just 600 galleons, but there's other secret vendors that sell more expensive and more special variants too. Now, by default, the broom is pretty fast, it's nimble, and it's also very easy to mount or dismount from, but there's ways to upgrade them to an even higher level, and you do so by completing these flying tests every time LB requires you to do so he can create improvements for your broom. These will pop out randomly as you progress through the year and go through the story, and it's totally worth it to go ahead and do them every single time. Especially since they require you to complete these broom challenges, which are also very fun as it really puts your flying skills to the test. Eventually, you're going to unlock a blue, then a purple, and finally a legendary orange upgrade for the broom, which is going to give you massive boost to your speed, acceleration, but also let you use the boost meter at much higher altitudes without depleting it. There's going to be a lot more exciting stuff, of course, that I'll cover in different videos, so if you want to stay up to date with that, just leave a like on this video, subscribe, and also activate that notification bell. I have a few things in store and also tons of secrets coming to Hogwarts Legacy, so I'll see you in the next video.